Hi, shalom, friends. You know, Jewish people are enamored with questions. I mean, I ask you, do you know of another nation that celebrates Independence Day by asking 4 questions? But actually, that's how we do it. Passover is our festival of liberation, and the highlight of the Seder, or one of the highlights, is 4 questions. And who asks? The youngest. And everyone quells. We're all so excited. When we look at Jewish scholarship, everything is filled with questions. The whole Talmud is question, answer. And even the Holy Chumash, the way it's taught in the beginning of God's creation, who created heaven and earth, right away Rashi, the foremost biblical commentator, asks a question: why did he start this way and not with another way? What is it about questions? And what is it about questions that Jewish people relate to it so powerfully? Actually, questions have a way of showing interest. So if you're a teacher and no one asks a question, either you're teaching a group of geniuses or people are not listening. So basically, asking a question is showing an interest in the subject that's being discussed. Okay, that's good. If you ask questions about life, that means you're observing things. If you have no questions, that means somehow everything's just going over you. But still, Jews still seem to have a special affinity to questions. In fact, as they humorously remark, someone once asked a Jew, why do Jews always ask questions? And his response was, why not? Again, a question. But if we were to think about a question, there's an expression of the Talmud: a wise question is half the answer. So sometimes if you ask a question like, of what, the response will be very different than the question of why. So if a person says, where's your homework? And the answer was, I did not have time. Now the question would be, why did you not make time? Just by asking the question in a slightly different way, it sheds light and brings out an entirely different insight. Well, if the question of the whys is half the answer, then you would imagine that the question of the Almighty Himself, the question is the answer. Now, many people think about they have questions on God. I find it humorous that the first one that questions is not human to God, but God to human. And I am referring to that famous episode in the early times of human development and of human history. In the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, or Adam and Chava, they eat from the tree of knowledge, and then they are very embarrassed, and they, so to speak, hide because they're not wearing clothes, and they're embarrassed before God. And suddenly they hear the voice of God. And God says to them, Ayeka, where are you? Isn't that something? The first recorded question in all of history of existence and of the Bible is a question from God to man. Not man to God. God asks man, Ayeka, where are you? Now, of course, Rashi explains that God, of course, knew where Adam was, and he wanted to start the conversation, not overwhelm him, and so on. But the Alter Rabbi, as we all know, the great Hasidic leader of the Chabad movement, gave the following insight: that this question of God, Ayeka, is not only addressed to Adam some 5,700 odd years ago. It's actually an ongoing question that God asks each and every one of us. Ayeka, where are you? Meaning, you were put down in this world and you exist for a reason. Much of those reasons can be described as bringing goodness, bringing holiness, bringing kindness. Ayeka, where are you in your path? Where are you in your mission? How successful have you been? Very powerful question. Ayeka. It's a question that we have to ask ourselves daily. Where am I? Well, I'm in this and this locality, and I am this and this in my professional growth career, and I'm perhaps this and this in my emotional maturity. No, Ayeka, where are you really? Where are you really? That question that God asks of man is the answer. What does that mean? It's the answer. Because if God wants to know where you are, by you being cognizant of it, you will become aware of what you're capable of doing. In fact, the question itself will motivate you to actually make a mark and to create milestones and to actually build something of great value that will not only be a benefit to you personally, but to your community and to the world in general. So we love questions because God himself started creation by asking man a question. And that question of God eternally motivates us to find the truth. Perhaps because of that, Jewish people have absorbed their love of questioning because they have a love of truth. Shalom.